We'll welcome you one more time. Welcome to Living Beyond Limits. I am Reverend Jennifer Spear. We are a part of Centers for Spiritual Living, and I'm so glad you joined us today at our first day at our new location. And for those of you who are joining us online, welcome too. I'm so glad that you've joined us for an online service. And so I'm going to invite all of you who are in this room right now to join me in reading our mission statement that's on the front of the bulletin. We are a sanctuary where people can discover and reveal the presence of God within their own being and experience their oneness with all life. Through the realization of this inner presence of love and peace, we give way to the evolutionary impulse of the divine and become a beneficial presence in the world. So that's what we are each doing here, is we are giving ourselves the opportunity to remember and to feel and to sense that, yes, that infinite one lives within us. That one power, that one presence, that one life, that one principle of life itself that lives within everything, expresses in and through and around and as everything, lives within us. That one infinite presence expresses within us as a myriad of things, some of those which are love and peace and the truth of our own wholeness and our own authentic power. Because what happens is, as we come to recognize that that is within us all of the time, we become so much less a victim to what is happening outside of ourselves. Because then when the world is not being loving or kind or generous, we can tap into that love and kindness and generosity inside of ourselves. And we bring that forward into the world. And as we do that, we change the interactions. We change the relationship. We change what happens. We change the other person's response. It changes how we feel. And as we do that, not only do we become a beneficial presence in our own life, but we become a beneficial presence to everyone that is around us. And because we are all connected to everyone in this world, we actually become a beneficial presence to the whole. And so I thank each and every single one of you for answering the call of your own spirit to be walking this path, to be bringing that divine presence into this world in a way that is beneficial to everyone. So thank you for that. And so on platform with me today is our practitioner, David Conant. He's going to lead us in an evocation as we begin to evoke an awareness of the presence of spirit and do a contemplative reading for us. So I invite you to begin to settle into yourself and to allow the sound of this bowl to help you slow down. And then Dennis Bryan is going to lead us in singing the chant, I Open Up, that will be on the wall. So you can sing along or just listen, close your eyes or open them, whatever feels right to you. But just to allow yourself to kind of find that place within yourself that is beingness. The place inside of you that is not of this world.
In the stillness, in the silence. inside of me. I surrender to this moment. I open up and I find peace. Let my soul speak with each heartbeat, with every breath I take. In the stillness, in the silence, I feel the Spirit surrounding me. I surrender to this moment. I open up and I find peace. I open up and I find peace.
I recognize and affirm that today, as I focus my thoughts within and recognize my oneness with the infinite mind and the infinite life, this is not something I do only in church or in a class. As a spiritual being, all I need to do is know the universal truth that defines my life. I also recognize and affirm the same is true for everyone here. This universal truth defines all of our lives, and that is a powerful and perfect description of our oneness with pure spirit. This is also true for living beyond limits. And so today, as we experience this spiritual presence, I bless Reverend Jennifer and thank her for the spiritual clarity she brings to our human experience. I bless Ray. I bless Dennis and Leslie. I bless everyone here. I bless all spiritual paths, and I bless this service. And so it is.
So it is.
Good morning. My reading today is from Living the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. It begins, "It was never intended that we should go through life filled with fear, doubt, and uncertainty. The way to get rid of these negative ideas is through the cultivation of faith, for God is all there is. When we turn in complete confidence, in trust and faith, to life itself, it will always respond to us. It does not matter what the history of any experience may have been, or how long we may have harbored a particular fear or resentment or doubt. In the very moment when we turn from it, it will depart from us. You see, eternity is here and now. God is everywhere. The Divine Spirit is in every person. And the movement of the law of good is in all human events. We alone block our good, and we alone affirm it. We alone can readjust our lives to a new way of thinking until all our patterns of thought are changed. In doing this, we shall be swapping fear for faith, doubt for uncertainty. Today is the day that we should accept our good, which is forever given. Today is the day that we get complete freedom from all of our yesterdays. Today is the day God has made. Let us be glad in it. And so it is.
And so it is.
Well, welcome to our last week, actually the last week of the season for nonviolence and our participation in it. So we've been talking during the season for nonviolence about ways to create greater peace within ourselves and within our lives, and therefore greater peace around us. And you know, not only do we want to have a sense of peace, but we also want to have a sense of assurance. We want to have a sense of confidence that there is actually a way out of whatever predicament we find ourselves in. Because when we don't know that there's a way out, we don't usually have peace. And so we want to know that there is a way out, that there is a solution, there is an answer, whether it's a global pandemic or whether it is a personal financial difficulty that you're having, or whether it's a problem that you're having in a relationship, or a problem at work, or a problem with a neighbor. We want to know that there is a solution, that there is an answer, especially when we haven't yet discovered what that solution or that answer is. We want to know that we are guided to that solution and to that answer. And so I have a story to share with you. A fellow had a flat tire as he was driving a country road. After finding he had no jack, he began walking, hoping to find a nearby farmer who would help him. It was getting dark, and the crickets were getting louder. As he walked the overgrown road, he began to throw dice of worry in his mind. What if the farmer isn't home? What if he won't let me use his jack? What if he won't let me use his phone? What if he's frightened of me? I never did anything to him. Why won't he just let me use his phone? By the time he knocked on the farmer's door, my friend was so preoccupied with what could go wrong that when the friendly old man answered the door, my friend bellowed, "Well, you can keep your damn jack." Oh my gosh, is that what we do? What happens when we haven't yet discovered the way forward? We haven't yet discovered the solution, the answer, the way out. We make up a story. We make up a story about why it can't work. We make up a story about why it won't work. We tell ourselves things like, the politicians will never work together for the good for everyone. We tell ourselves things like, Putin is a nut, and he will never fill in the blank, whatever it is that you say to yourself. We tell ourselves we will never slow down or stop climate change because there is just too much money to be made in the way we've been doing things. Or you tell yourself, we will just continue to do things the way they've always been done. We tell ourselves those people will never, and fill in the blank, or I will never be able to fill in the blank because I've never been able to do it before. We tell ourselves that we don't have what it takes. I'm never going to get to go on that dream vacation because I just don't have what it takes to save enough money for that. We tell ourselves I'm never going to heal from this dis-ease that I have in my body because I'm just too old, or my immune system just doesn't work that well anymore. We tell ourselves things like, I will never be able to ask for what I want or to speak my mind because the women in my family never did that, and therefore I can't do it either. We make up all sorts of stories about why we can't, why we won't, why it won't work out. But all of that is just a story. Keep your damn jack. The truth is that there is an infinite presence that created the cosmos out of itself, that kind of creativity and that kind of intelligence, that is everywhere present, in its fullness, in its allness, that is present in every single moment, in every single situation, in every single person. That infinite, creative love intelligence in every moment, every situation, and every person. And its nature is to unfold. Its nature is to express. So it is always seeking to unfold itself in greater ways than it has before. Its nature is to do that. And that nature of its unfolding and its expression is what the evolution of humanity is. It's what the evolution of our own individual lives is. Have you not grown? Have you not changed? Have you not acquired skills and knowledge? All of that is the unfolding of that presence through you as growth and evolution. Reverend Masato Hiroaka, in his book Love, The Art of Being Human, said, underneath our plans, underneath our need for control, there is a deeper life waiting to emerge. There's a deeper life waiting to emerge. The greater is always seeking to express through the lesser. But it needs space in order to do that. And so we either create that space or we clog up that space with our disbelief, with our stories, with our false assumptions, with that telling ourselves why it just can't and won't work. We fill that space up so that channel gets clogged so that it isn't able to unfold itself in our lives. And so the title of my talk today is, what are you looking for? What are you looking for? Are you looking for the solution and the answer and the way forward? Or are you looking for that problem just to continue to exist in your life? I'm talking about when we recognize, when we realize that that infinite presence is at the center of all, when we recognize that that presence is at the center of every single challenge that we're experiencing in our lives or in this world at large, our doubt and our worry and our fear lift off of us. And in turn, as that doubt and fear and worry lift off of us, we create room within our emotional body for the perfect solution and for the answer to emerge. We create space in ourselves so that we can hear that solution and hear that answer. Because it already exists. The answer and the solution already exists in mind. Capital M, mind. The mind of God, consciousness. It already exists. It's like the fact that electricity always existed, but it took Benjamin Franklin harnessing it to actually bring it to life in this world. The idea for the combustion engine always existed, but it took Ford and his open mind and his inquisitive nature to be able to bring it forward into the world. But it existed before he created it. And the next form of transportation also already exists in mind. The one that creates zero carbon molecules into the atmosphere. The one that creates zero emissions. But it takes an opening in someone's mind in order to bring that forward, in order to make it real in the world of form. But it already exists in mind. So the problem is when we are stuck in whatever isn't working in our lives is we forget that there is an intelligent, creative force at the center of whatever's going on. We forget that it's present and that it's active. Instead of looking to spirit, instead of looking to that infinite creativity, instead of looking for that infinite creativity with an open mind and a listening attitude, we look to the problem to tell us how things are. We look to the problem to tell us what is real and what is factual and how this is going to be the way things are going to be. I went for a walk in my neighborhood the other day, and someone had a sign out in front in their yard, and it said, "Turn off the news and love your neighbor." Because love already exists. It's already inside of every single one of us. We don't have to create it. We don't have to bring it in from outside. It already exists in us, as does intelligence. It already exists within you as the answer, as the solution, as the way forward, as the way out, as does order and harmony and perfection. And that expresses as the health in your body, as does financial prosperity, because creativity already exists, because opportunities for expression already exist. It's just up to you to discover where they are, to find them and find a way to express yourself in the world. The opulence of life is the truth that you live in. You don't have to find it, discover it, search for it. It's already right where you are. When I was in ministerial school, we did an exercise one day where we were paired up with another ministerial student, and we were to do a counseling session. And so one of us was to be the person with the problem, the counselee, and the other one was to be the counselor. And so they sat us down in 2 chairs, knee to knee, and I was the first one to go. And so I was to tell the counselor a problem that I was having, some place where I felt stuck, some place that I didn't know the solution or the answer, that I couldn't find my way forward, and to tell them all the gory details about it so that they could give me feedback, because that's what a practitioner does, is they help you see where you're stuck or what you're believing that's keeping you stuck, or help you discover your answer. And so we sat down knee to knee, and as we began, the one rule was the only words that were allowed to come out of my mouth were blah, 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 blah. And the counselor, the only words that were allowed to come out of their mouth was love, love, love. And so we sat down and did this counseling session. And in my mind, I told this whole entire story about why I couldn't have another relationship in my life and why it wasn't going to work and blah, 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 as I went blah, blah, blah. But the story was real in my mind. I'm telling it, telling all the details. The practitioner's going, love, love, love. It was so amazing. I got my own answer that was so profound and so real. And the answer that came to me was, there doesn't have to be drama in your relationship. Wow. But the thing is, the only reason it worked is because we already have the answer. We just have to create a space so that we can hear it. That's why journaling is so important and so valuable, because it gives us space to get the story out of why it isn't working, so that there's enough space once all that stuff gets out of us so that we can hear our own answer. That's why meditation is so powerful. We stop our yammering once we're finally able to get to that place of silence and openness so we can hear the answer that's already present. We don't have to go find it out there. It's already in here. The answer already lives within me. The answer already lives within you. The answer already lives within the politicians. The answer already lives in the world leaders. It's already there. It already lives in the techies, that are going to find the way forward for zero emissions, carbon emissions, and whatever else, global warming. Raymond Charles Barker said in the book Treat Yourself to Life, "In affirmative prayer, I realized that I am in a power which is already in action, and which I merely let happen through me. I clear my thought regarding the situation in order to let my good happen. Because I'm not treating conditions, I'm treating consciousness. I'm treating mental attitudes and moods, my thinking and my feeling nature." We clear our thought so that we can let our good happen through us. So we can get the clog out of the pipe, get the muck out of the way. We aren't manipulating things in the world when we want things to be different. We're just opening ourselves so that that good we desire can come flooding in. We're opening ourselves so the greater that is seeking to express through the lesser has a space to do that. But it requires that we shift our focus, and it requires that we tell ourselves the truth, the capital T truth. And so the inspiration for my talk today came from a woman, Reverend Nadia Bolz-Weber, who is a Lutheran minister and a public theologian. And she wrote a rendition of the Lord's Prayer, which she calls the extended dance mix. And so she is really funny and irreverent and interesting. And so this is what she wrote, and I've removed a little bit of it because it was too long, and I've added a little bit of my own stuff, a couple places here and there. So this is the two of us. Okay, so it starts. This is the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, our Mother, our Holy Parent, the source of all being, from whom we came, in whom we live, and to whom we return, who art in heaven, our Father who art in everything, our Father who art in orphanages and neonatal units and jail cells and high-rise apartments, who art in law offices and adult bookstores, who art in rooms alone with suicidal people, our Father who art in the halls of Congress and in the halls of tenements. Hallowed be thy name. Holy is your name. And holy are the things when we recognize, are all things, when we recognize that you are at the center of all. Thy kingdom come. May we bring your kingdom to earth. We need more than just a small measure of heaven on earth, because if you haven't noticed, we're in a global pandemic. And there are unjust wars raged on innocent people in Yemen, Ethiopia, and Ukraine. We need wise leaders and just systems and an extra dose of compassion for all of us. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Thy will, and not that of our egos, be done. Give us today our daily bread. Lord, give us real bread, even when we keep reaching for those literal and metaphorical Krispy Kremes. Give us the gift of enoughness. How about that? Give us the gift of enoughness. May our response to perceived scarcity always be increased generosity, for from you we receive everything. Give us today our desire for the neighbor to be fed. Give us today a desire for a good that is held in common. And forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. Forgive us when we hate what you love. Forgive us for how much we resent in others the same things we hate in ourselves. And this one is hard. Please forgive us for thinking we know the hearts of our enemies. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Deliver us from addiction and depression. Deliver us from self-loathing. Deliver us from self-righteousness. Deliver us from a complete lack of imagination about where you are in our lives and how you might already be showing up. Deliver us from complacency. Deliver us from complicity. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. For you are the good itself, the only power that exists in my life now, always, and in all ways. And those of God say amen. She actually ends with a benediction that says, receive this blessing. Go forth into the world in peace. Be of good courage. Hold fast to that which is good. Render to no one evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the afflicted. Honor all people. And the blessing of the triune God, eternal majesty, incarnate word, and abiding spirit, rest upon you this day and remain in you forever. Amen. Isn't that amazing? And the part that was so inspiring to me that I didn't change one word of was, who art in heaven. Our Father who art in everything. Our Father who art in orphanages and neonatal units and jail cells and luxury high-rises. Who art in law offices and adult bookstores. Who art in rooms alone with suicidal people. Our Father who art in the halls of Congress and in the halls of tenements. We forget that the allness of that which God is always present wherever we are, in whatever we are doing, and in whatever seeming problem we are in. The fullness of Spirit and all that it is right there. So we are required to look to that principle, to look to that one creative love intelligence of the cosmos, to look to it in times of challenge, and to look for it. We forget to look for it when things aren't working. She says, how might God already be working in my life now? How might God already be present? Oh yeah, it's the intelligence in my body that's orchestrating everything. Well, if that intelligence knows how to orchestrate my body and knows how to turn food into bones and tissue and muscles, it must know how to heal this thing that's happening inside of me. It's an infinite intelligence. We're required to remind ourselves how it's already present. So ask yourself, how is it present here and now when you find yourself stuck? It's already present here and now as intelligence and wisdom that live in Putin. It's already present as love in you and in me and in all of my neighbors. The truth of oneness is already present in the senators and in the people of the House of Representatives. Oneness is already there. Abundance is the nature of life. And it's the nature of life even in those people who express greed because they think there is never going to be enough. Wholeness is present there. Enoughness is present there. And oneness is the truth of every person in this entire world, already present. So my invitation to you is to stop telling yourself the story about why you can't, why it won't work, why it can't work, whatever your story is that you have going on, and to look for that infinite one right in the middle of it. To tell yourself how that infinite one is present and to look to that one. To remember that it is present, that it is active, that it is awaiting your opening. So be that opening. Be that opening. Expect an answer. Expect a solution. Edison didn't create all the things that he created not expecting an answer or a solution. You have to expect that it's actually going to show up. Expect an answer. Expect a solution. Expect a way forward so that you're open to it when it shows up. Be open to the solution and listen within. That's where your answers are. And as a result of that, you'll be creating a world that works for you and creating a world that works for everyone else around you. And you'll be resting in peace and in the assurance that you already are. So blessings to every single one of you on this path of self-discovery, capital S, self-discovery. This path of discovering that infinite one that is at the center of your life at every single moment. Blessings to you. And so I invite you to join me in an affirmative prayer. Oh, what a blessing it is actually just to know that this is the truth. To know that that omnipresence of that infinite one is right where we are. And that that presence wants nothing more than to unfold itself in our lives and through our lives as the good that we desire. For I know that the good that we desire is our hearts calling to us. And our hearts are simply representative of our spirit. It is our spirit calling to be that which we've come from, to be the fullness of life and the fullness of love, the fullness of the goodness that God is. And so I recognize that that one, that infinite one, is everywhere present, in its fullness, in its allness, in its wholeness, in its bounty. That one whose center is everywhere. We live in that presence. And it is that one that unfolds itself through us as the good that we desire. And so I know right now that that presence, the intelligence of God, is revealing itself in our minds as the answer, as the solution, as the way forward. That is revealing itself in our hearts as ease in relationship, as connection with each other, as unity and brotherhood and inclusion and fairness and compromise together. I know that that one absolute intelligence is expressing itself in each of our bodies, orchestrating every function and action and organ. For we have been created out of this intelligence, and that intelligence is the thing that keeps our bodies active and alive, and it is working right now. That there is a divine blueprint for each of our bodies, and it is that that is held in the mind of God, and it is that that is held within us. So today we open ourselves to it. We accept it as our current reality, for it is real, and it is here, and it is now. And so we open, allowing it to unfold itself. And so I speak this word also about every single one of our world leaders right now, that there is a love and intelligence, a principle of oneness that is unfolding through each of them as a world that works for all. That is the highest calling of their hearts, and that there is a heed to this call. And so I bless all of this. I give thanks for all of this. And I release this prayer into the creative law of the universe, knowing that it is unfolding itself now. And if you are in agreement with me, I invite you to say, and so it is.
And so it is.
So let go, and if it all boils down to just one thing, and it's the one thing that you know that Spirit brings, and then we all join hands in light. We all join hands across the great divide. God's got this, I know. So let go, scooby-dooby, do-ya-dooby-dooby, dooby-dooby, do-ya-dooby-dooby. Well, okay. Thank you, Leslie.
It's now time for our affirmation, which is on the white sheet. If you would join me, it makes it very powerful. Today, I let go of my story, and instead, I look for the infinite in all things and all situations. I see it in all. Recognizing it, I make room for it to exist within and within my life. And so it is.
So I have a couple of invitations for you. One is we want to know if you will be on one of our teams. We are needing at least one extra person every Sunday to help us set up here, at least for the beginning until we figure out how we're all doing this stuff. So there are sign-up sheets in the back. We are also, so we've been having discussions for a few weeks now about whether we're going to have coffee or not. We did not do coffee last week. In fact, I'm going to take a raise of hands again this week. If you would drink coffee after service, if you would like to drink coffee after service, will you raise your hand? No, just coffee. Yeah, if you drink coffee. Raise your hand so I can see it, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of us. Okay, so we're looking for people to be on a coffee team. There's a sign up in the back, and we're thinking what that means. I brought coffee today, and cups, and sugar, and stirs, and all that stuff. We're talking about buying a thermos pump pot, and that would mean you would brew a pot of coffee at your house, fill up the thermos, and bring it to church with you. And then the next week, you'd hand it to somebody else who signed up. So if you're interested in participating in that, we'll supply the things. You make the coffee. Sign up in the back, please, because I think we would like that. I would like to have coffee after service. We're also looking for people to be greeters before service. So, if you're the person that comes and helps set up, you can also be the greeter because you're already here. And we're looking for somebody who would like to be in charge of, or at least participate in, our in-reach. That means deciding what kind of things we want to do together. We want to have a picnic. In fact, that's a whole new thing. We're at the park. Do you notice we're at the park? We can have picnics after church. Bring a sack lunch and we can have picnics. We can also, for the very first time ever, we can do classes and workshops after service in the park because we're already here. I'm very excited about that. So if you'd like to be on our in-reach, or if you'd like to be on outreach committee, also that means you look for things out in the world for us to volunteer and do and things to participate in, like Sukasa and Christmas projects and that kind of stuff. So there are sign-up sheets in the back. I would love for all of you to sign up for something. It would be fabulous. I'm also intending to teach a 5-week class that is a brand new class that just came out of Centers for Spiritual Living, and it is around the 10 core principles of the science of mind and spirit, and practices for each one of those, how you practice them, how you bring that principle into your life. There's a sign-up sheet in the back. So far, we don't have very many sign-ups, so I may not end up teaching it if we don't get people to sign up. Also, we're questioning on there. Do you want to take it? If you would like to take it, do you want to take it during the day at the park? Do you want to take it at night on Zoom? What are you thinking? What would work for you? So sign up, write down what your first or second choice is. Our Sunday talks are available for you online, and we invite you to share them with your friends. And we have prayer support after church. Our practitioners would love to sit down and pray with you if you have something you would like prayer for in your life. And we have prayer shawls. If you want to take a shawl home with you, talk to Barbara Conant, and she will make sure that happens, and the practitioners will pray over it, and you can take it with you. So my last invitation is to stand and sing I Release.
Mm-hmm. Ready?